Hey up guys, S-Men back at it again with a brand new video. Now, I just gotta say, this episode was a certified banger. So make sure you guys like this video, subscribe for more content like this in the future, leave a comment about what your thoughts on this episode, and let's get right into that review. Picking up right from last episode, Dot has now semi-conquered her fear of being on camera without her kneeling. This episode actually starts off with Iono and Nidoking promoting their upcoming battle, with Dot using the concept of Nidoking owning a Quaxly as a kind of like thing to basically say, oh yeah, make sure if you're a fan of me, go watch it because they have a Quaxly too. And I feel like that's kind of smart of Dot. I also like the overall like process of this episode, like the continuous like content grind spoken about by Dot and like just the whole Iono and Dot being streamer concept, and I love that they did that. Iono was probably like one of the best gym leaders, like gimmick-wise, in the entirety of Scarlet and Violet, besides maybe Larry, because Larry is just the GOAT. And the whole stream concept was so interesting, and I'm happy we have a main character focusing on that, because if this was a traditional Ash series, not like the one where there's like a Journey series or even a Sun and Moon-like series, if this was a traditional Ash-like series, I feel like out of all the gym leaders that could have went alongside him, she would have been the most interesting one to follow him. Meaning Iono, of course. But yeah, after this, we get actually a cool scene of Dot, this a little panicky, but like it's just she has nerves for the battle. And she actually uses all the data she has from Iono's live streams of her belly bolt to determine Iono's battle strat and how Quaxly could beat it with her own. And that's when we actually get a cool scene of Rico mentioning that sometimes just living in the moment is probably the best thing to do, because one of Dot's most iconic clips was a failure on stream. Dot obviously does listen to his advice, but doesn't take it really until later on in the episode. That's when we get preparation for the battle, and Dot and others go to head out, and the Rising Bull Trackers go to follow as Dot's #1 fan. She gets too embarrassed, so she tells them to stay. I think that's so funny that Murdoch was ready to support her with the banner and all the stuff, and I'm just sad she didn't do that. That's when we get a scene of Coral and Onyx watching over them, and that's when we see my boy Clavel arrive saying, oh yes, I'm happy to see students like you guys focusing on friendships and making sure your friends are okay. And that's when they both wander off during his little rambles because Coral wants a shirt. And that's the last we see before this episode, and they do mention that they are looking for information on Terrapagos. Also, another detail I really liked was just the whole Clavel, everything he did in this episode. I like how he just went on little rambles, and like everyone was like, I feel bad for him because he was genuinely invested in what he was talking about, and everybody tried to brush him off. I even like how he was running later in the episode. I think that is, I love Clavel's run. Clavel was like my favorite guy in the Scarlet and Violet game, just because like the whole Clavel, Clive, and just like him as a person and just everything about him. And I love how they like we adapt him into the anime, and we'll see them more later. And after that, Clavel actually runs into the kids, and he asks them how they're doing and tries to give them some word of advice, but ends up actually distracting them. So Dot has to sneak off while Roy and Nico distract him for her battle. And I think that's whole funny. And I like that Clavel genuinely does care about them. I kind of wish that they've been going to the academy since the beginning, so like this connection between Clavel and his students felt more genuine, because they've really interacted for one episode and that's really it. But I'm happy that Roy got to discuss what he learned, and Rico even said, oh yeah, there was a lot that happened with mine, and that Roy genuinely saw what he learned from Brassius as a lesson. Leading up to that, the stream between Iono and Dot begins. Now, I gotta say, this battle has probably one of the best battles in the entirety of Horizons. I don't know what other battle could top this. This battle has had the setup and it had the animation. And even the fact that Dot was technically the underdog, even though she had a plan. And that plan was semi-working at first. But that's when Iono's Belly Bolt's ability gets in the way. And with a discharge, Quaxly's unable to avoid. So, basically, Dot's whole strategy going into it is Iono's signature is to use Spark against her opponents. So, if Dot had Quaxly outspeed Belly Bolt due to its bulkiness, she can easily get some hits of Water Gun off and allow her to win the victory without getting hurt. But this obviously gets avoided because Belly Bolt's ability allows it to charge up due to all this attack, and I love the element of that ability being used. But after this, Quaxly gets knocked down and even almost gets hit by a Spark, but is able to get out of there and use a low kick. And I like her switching up the strategy on the fly to use low kick. And then with the spamming Water Guns, Belly Bolt eventually uses another discharge, but it accidentally short circuits the live stream. With Iono semi-distracted, Quaxly begins jumping around in puddles, dancing. And that's when Dot has the epiphany that it's her time to metaphorically and literally shine. She terrestrializes Quaxly, and it literally, this is probably the coolest scene ever. It slides around on the water that had been spread throughout the battlefield and hitting low kicks on Belly Bolt. And at the end, it learns liquidation and knocks over Belly Bolt. But of course, the live stream kicks back on, and it's Iono's time to shine. She terrestrializes, and with one discharge, Quaxly is out for the count. I gotta say, I love this battle. Like, the animation, the whole Dot strategy going in, and her deciding, I gotta change this on the fly, just for her to think about it and realize, oh, we need to shine. We need to basically shine and sparkle for this battle, and just as a streamer. And I like this, how this ties back into the concept explored in the last episode with Iono talking about Dot needing to shine and sparkle on stream. And I just love that Dot is really good. She was able to shine and sparkle for the crowd along with Quaxly. And I love how that is tied into the terrestrialization as a whole. And I love her own saying, all right, Quaxly, let's dance and shine for social media. Ugh, I just love this whole scene. I love Dot as a character, and I just love her progression. Like I said, Dot wasn't my favorite character early on, but I just love Dot now. Dot is probably like my third or fourth favorite character at this point, just because of all the development she's got. And episodes like this. And even after the battle, where Dot has her epiphany of what it means to sparkle and shine and be your best, basically, and being like a good streamer slash battler, where she says, oh yeah, I lost the battle, but Iono said, did you have fun? And then Dot says, of course I did. Then Iono's like, that's what it means to truly shine. Ugh, I just love that scene. I loved Iono's and Dot's connection. I hope this isn't the last we see out of Iono, but even if it was, this is a good send-off to Iono as a character. Iono has probably been one of the best gym leader adaptations in the entirety of the anime for a while now. Unless you are a main character, most gym leaders got like little development, but Iono has legit gotten so much focus, so much build up for this battle. This battle was really good. And I love the ending where Clavel gets to discuss Dot's performance and even their next steps on the terrestrial course, where they're going to have to head back to school, and he reminds them to do their studies leading to the next episode. And I love this little detail of Clavel trying to relate to Dot a bit by asking her about streaming, and she discussed what she just learned. Ugh, I love this. I love this entire, like, the last couple episodes have all been bangers. I love how each character has learned a lesson, and it even sticks with them. And I just love everything about each of their battles. And this was probably the best one. In my opinion, it's this one, Roy's, and Liko. Sadly, I do love Liko, but Liko's had no development. No build-up. Roy's had a little build-up, but it was kind of like forced in with too much stuff. Like the Iono, like the Nemona battle was also forced into that episode, which I feel like that should have been its own episode leading to the battle, like how this one had too. And then Dot and Iono have just had this bond and build up for a while now. And Dot has had her insecurities and her struggles to shine bright, but she's finally succeeded. And just because of that, I give this episode a 10 out of 10. There was nothing really wrong with this episode. Only things really just being like, did it need the explorers? Maybe we could have had another character. And I love how Clavel appears, by the way. I did forget to mention this. Clavel is tied heavily into Iono's gym challenge. So I love that this is the one battle Clavel appears for. I feel like that really fits. But like I said, 10 out of 10. Hope you guys like this video. Subscribe for more content like this in the future. S-Man, signing off.